Hey everyone, it's me, Donna. I'm finally over the C virus. I'm just left with this nagging cough and everything. So if I cough or if my voice tries to go, I do apologize. But anyway, all right, I'm making this video about my African and Native American heritage. And the reason why I say both of those is because in some instances it's combined. So I can't really talk about one without talking about the other. So anyway, let's get started. All right, as you can see on this model, it talks about or it shows the, excuse me, my different ethnicity using the Punt DNA-L K13 model and using my 23andMe kit. This is what it tells me. It's got my West Asian, which I have quite a bit of it. I still don't know where that comes from exactly, but that has to do with Iran, Iraq, the Middle Eastern regions. Also, let's see, where's this other portion? The Southwest Asian, which is also within that region. So I've got quite a bit of that. Yeah, I can't quite figure it out, but it's there. I mean, there's no denying it. It's there. Maybe I'll figure that out one day. I also have Northeast European and Caucasian and all that. My British, Irish, all that stuff. Okay. And also, your Norwegian and all that stuff. So yeah. Also I have Native American, excuse me, my Polynesian, which is considered Oceania, in some, terminology. And that I have found out that is mixed in with my Native American, and I will explain, as well as my South Asian, my Southeast Asian. I have a little bit of that. I have, Southwest European, which that has a lot to do with like some Greek, some Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, all that stuff. That's mixed in with that. And then of course I mentioned my Southwest Asian and also my West African. I also have other little bits and pieces from Africa, but this model shows my West African. Okay, so, all right. And some of you have mentioned, because I have talked about my Native American and other ethnicity and everything. Some of you have mentioned, well, why don't I mention about my African? So that's what this video is about. Okay, as far as I know, now this stuff is not written in stone. This is just what I have found out with my own research and all the different things that I have come across and read and what have you. Like I said, none of it's set in stone. I don't know what is 100% fact or not, but this is just what I found so far. So I do apologize if I am wrong about something. But as of right now, it's my understanding that I have an ancestor. Let me find her. Let's see, right here. Her name was Mary Thurton or Thurston. There's different ways the name was spelt back in the day, around 1622. She came from Haiti. And then I guess she married an Englishman. Somehow she ended up in Great Britain. I don't know the details of it or whatever. But she ended up there. She married him. And then they had a son who married a woman who then he was a barber, and he married, and I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know if it's pronounced Alicia, or whatever. Richardus. She was from England as well, and they had Jane Barber, who married Michael Basham. Okay, so that's how that comes in on that side. Okay, all right. Now, let me find another ancestor. Let's see. Let me look over here. Okay. Here is another ancestor that I believe she was a slave because some information that I have found said that she was a slave who was set free, and she married a Woodard, and her name was Margaret. I think she may have married 2 or 3 times, and that's why she had like a few name changes, because information about her is kind of confusing, but you know, that's the information that I found so far about her. But as far as I know, she was born around 1701, around Virginia. So that's our, and that, she married a John Woodard, and that started this side of the family. If anyone has any more information about her, I would appreciate it, because she is a little bit of a mystery. And of course, I do realize that when it comes to slaves and stuff like that, you know, being that no one knows who some of their real true parents were, and they didn't keep records, you know, like everybody does today. And therefore, you know, in some cases, I'll never know who their parents were or grandparents or whatever. But I would like to know if anyone out there does have information about her. I would like to know, you know, as much as I can. So yeah, but I do know, or I do realize that in a lot of cases, it's just a lost cause, because in some cases, the actual master was the father, and then things get confusing when dealing with the mother, because the mother, in a lot of cases, was a slave, and so whoever the man actually married may not even be the mother of that person. So, and even say, like, if a will was made and the husband or whatever, or the master, so to speak, whatever you want to call it, claimed the child, but still, you know, the mother may not be the mother. She may just be his marital wife, and, some poor slave out there, it was actually the mother of the child. So, I don't know. You know, it's just one of those things. I may never know, but I would like to know. You know, it would make me, you know, very happy to be able to put her rightful information in my tree. Okay, if that is the case. Okay. All righty. Let's see. Who else? Okay. All right. There's some information right here. I have some relatives. Now, over here, this Duck Woodard, his name was actually William George, but a lot of people called him Duck Woodard, from what I understand. Okay. Now, he came from Native American people, and also someone that I'm going to talk about here lastly, but she had mixes of African and Native American and all that stuff, and that was his heritage. But he married a woman, Elizabeth Renee or Rena Nichols, however you want to say her name. All right, the information that I found on these two, because they were from Lawrence County, Alabama, out around the Bankhead Forest and all that stuff. They both claimed black on the census, and I will show you this information. Well, I can. Let's see, where's that at? Right here. Okay, as you can see on the census, the 1880 census, it tells where they're from and all that stuff, and also it mentions that he is black. Okay, that's what he claims, even though he's got Native American, but somehow or another, it's either enough Native American to where he felt like he had to hide to keep from being put on the Trail of Tears and all that stuff, to be, sent out west, all that ruckus. Or he himself, which, like I said, his ancestor now, I think it's his grandmother. Let's say, hold on just a second. I'll get it right here in a minute. She would be parent, grandparent, great-grand. So his great-grandmother had mixes of Native American and African. But maybe somewhere else along the way, somehow he may have picked up more African. I don't know at this point in time. There's still a lot of unanswered. As you can see, these other ancestors, there's a little bit that's still unknown as far as that goes. But there was enough in him, enough darkness in him to where he felt like he had to, if it is straight up mostly Native American, it was enough to where he felt like, well, I have to claim black to keep from being, done that way, to being sent over there. So that happened, but for her, Elizabeth Nichols, she also, this is her right here, she also claimed to be black. Okay. So that tells me that somewhere along the way, she had, and see, there's a lot here I don't know about her. I know, like, she had a mother named Letty Hicks. That's what I know about her. This is Elizabeth Rena. But I don't know about her heritage. I'm just, I've been looking and looking and looking. I'm just kind of coming into dead ends and all that. I think her father was a John Hicks, but that's still not 100% certain. But either way, excuse me, somehow or another, she either had enough Native American to where she felt like she had to hide, or she had black, or mixes of the two to where she had to claim black. Because, she knew she wouldn't fit in as, could be labeled as white on the census. So that's what they did. So those are some black ancestors that I have as far as that goes. All right. Now to talk about, where is she at? I'll get it right here in a minute. Okay. All right. I recently found out more information about my ancestor, Neone Ali Anaway Moitoi Atakulakula. If I got that correct. She married Chief Atakulakula. I recently found out that she, not only did she have regular Native American, she also had mixes of Polynesian, and so I have finally found out where my Polynesian comes from. It comes from her. At least that's what I'm led to believe as of right now, because this has been a mystery for me, because the Polynesian kept showing up, which also is referred to as Oceania. It keeps popping up in DNA tests, and so it has been a mystery. So I think I have finally solved that mystery. But she is mixes of that, as well as black and Aborigines and all that. She's got all those different mixes. So somehow or another, she passed that down to me. Okay. So she is, like I said, she is an ancestor of John Woodard. And Mary, well, I shouldn't say John Woodard, actually Mary Flanagan, because their daughter, one of their daughters, married a Flanagan, and then her being a Flanagan, she married John Woodard, and then William George, or shall I say Duck Woodard, ended up with this DNA. Okay. And he's the one that married Elizabeth Nichols or whatever. I know I'm rambling, but anyway, so that's how that ended up to be. And I'm glad to finally solve the mystery as to where, my Polynesian and everything comes from, and other bits and pieces of Asian and all that. I finally know that it most likely came from her. She comes in at least 2 times that I know of in my family tree. So she comes in on both sides of my father's family. She comes in this way on my father's mother's side, okay? And then also on my father's father's side, if I can get it to click, whoops, excuse me, through the Staggs and the Brewers and all that, here she is again. So I believe, maybe I got a little extra from her or something. But yeah, that's how I got that. Excuse me. And I'm going to show you that, yes, this is indeed in my DNA. It's scattered all throughout. As you can see, I have West Asian, Northeast European, American Indian, Siberian, Oceania, which is the Polynesian, South Asian, Northeast Asian, East African, Southeast Asian, Southwest European, Southwest Asian, West African, and South African. So all this stuff is all mixed in and entangled in my DNA. I'm showing you my chromosomes right here. So it's definitely there. But as you can see, it's mostly the Caucasian and all that's most dominant, but I definitely have quite a bit of West, Asian, like I said, Iran, Iraq, all that stuff, somehow or another. I have quite a bit of that all mixed in with my DNA as well. But yeah, you can just see all these bits and pieces, Native American and all that stuff. Like I said, Siberian and, South Asian and Oceania, all that stuff. And the African, all that. It's all mixed up and mixed in my DNA. So, and of course, naturally, being that I am white, I have white skin, I claim Caucasian because, that's what I see in the mirror is that. So there's no denying that. So that's what I identify, because people have asked me, well, what do you identify as? That is definitely, what I identify as. There's no getting around it, but I still find it interesting to see all this other stuff that is there as well. And there's a lot of people. I mean, there's millions of people walking around with all these different mixes of DNA. Some people want to look into it and claim it, but there's others that don't. So it's just a matter of perspective and, what a person chooses to do. So, but anyway, I wanted to share this with you guys, and I reckon we will talk to you later. Bye.